Welcome to the Hang Time Podcast. I'm your host, Sekou Smith, here in the Orlando bubble, getting ready for the NBA Finals. The Lakers Heat NBA Finals we never got in 2013. We're getting it now. You know, I'm going to call this the pandemic finals, the one that everybody should be locked into. My man, Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports, the NBA Insider's Insider, is joining me on the podcast today. See, what's up, man? How you feeling this morning?
I was feeling good until I looked at the NBA Finals schedule, and I like the schedule going up to Game 4. But after Game 4, I have a problem.
Wait. We ain't even started the finals yet. You're talking about problems.
Let me tell you the problem. So from Game 1 to Game 4, all the games are every other day.
Mm-hmm.
After Game 4, between Game 4 and Game 5, there's 3 days off. I have a problem with that, Sekou. Game 4 is on the 6th. Game 5 is on the 9th. Sekou, we don't need to be messing up the system. Let's get out of here, man. These guys don't need, there's no traveling in between. And what they need 3 days off before the next game, man.
Wait a minute. So you need a sweep then, is what you're saying. Somebody got to get swept in the finals.
I'm going to say this, man. Sekou. I don't care who wins Game 1. But whoever wins Game 1, I'm not saying I'm rooting for anybody, but I wouldn't mind for them to win the next 3. So we can get out of here, Sekou.
Chris, seriously, how many days have you been? I know you're counting. How many days have you been in the bubble?
Not that I'm counting or anything, but today is 91.
Wow.
It might be 92. I think it's 92.
I mean, you've been here longer than damn near anybody. And you look at the Lakers, you look at LeBron James in year 17, grinding his way to another finals, 10th of his career. What goes through your mind thinking about what it took for him to get on that horse and ride it through this crazy, wild pandemic season?
I covered LeBron in the first year that he went back to Cleveland. So I believe that was 14-15 season or maybe 15-16.
Yeah, 14-15. Mm-hmm.
14-15, okay. And that year, it was early on, it was like 2 months into that season, he started having back issues. And at that time, Brian had never been sat out any extended amount of time. And I believe he was out for like 2 weeks at that point. Mm-hmm. And he just was not himself. Like his game wasn't there. You could tell something was bothering him. Or you can say that, he was slowing down. And I thought I would cover the decline. I never thought we'll be here in 2020. And LeBron is still arguably the best player in the game and going to his 10th NBA Finals, and leading the team to the 10th NBA Finals. So I'm impressed. Like I'm shocked. I didn't see this 6 years ago. What he's doing is unprecedented at this rate, at this efficiency level. And look, man, 3 different teams to the NBA Finals, man. That nobody's done that.
Yeah, you said arguably the best player. That's been a very interesting conversation down here. LeBron waded into it after the MVP was announced that Giannis had won his second straight. LeBron had some pointed remarks for those of us who are voters, those of us who didn't vote in the way he felt that we should have. Did you think the case was that rock solid for him to be MVP over Giannis? I know you voted for LeBron. All our votes out there, I voted for Giannis. Did you agree with his assessment of the balloting process and how the MVP went down?
I say arguable because I think he's the best still right now. But I say arguable because obviously there's a ton of people who feel otherwise. But as it turns to the ballot, I was surprised that he only got 16. I was. Giannis deserved to win. I personally, I voted for LeBron because, I just think that the Lakers, they're definitely not in that position without him, playing point guard position full time like that. At this stage of his career, I think was impressive. The numbers that he put up, led the league in assists, and definitely Giannis had a historic efficiency type season. And so I didn't have no qualms about Giannis getting that. And I think LeBron, like, he didn't say that Giannis shouldn't have deserved that MVP. He's saying that the discrepancy shouldn't have been that drastic. Right. he only got 16 of the 101 votes.
Right.
That was his issue with it. And, could he have handled it different? Did it come off as that he's raining on Giannis' parade? It might have came off like that, but he was just disappointed with the lack of first place votes that he received, not necessarily miffed or irritated that Giannis won.
Right. The great ones always need a chip on the shoulder, something to motivate him. I would imagine that after all LeBron has done throughout the course of his career, he could have shifted in the second gear by now and said, you know what? I'm on Mount Rushmore. I'm in that conversation for the greatest player ever. Take it easy. Let somebody else do the heavy lifting. Why do you think he's never done that?
Well, Brian's a student of the game, and he understands what the greats have accomplished before him. He understands what the greats have accomplished, the guys that he's played with, and he wants to be the greatest. And so when you have a guy who knows his history and, knows the struggle that they went through and gone, he wants to make sure when his career is all said and done that you mention him as the greatest or in a conversation with the greatest. And so he just has that pursuit. He just has that desire. I mean, the story is out already. I mean, just like how he finished, he finished Game 5. And so, he came up to me before Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, right before the game. He's warming up. Mm-hmm. And he looks off into a distance and he spots me. And, he comes over and talks to me. And, that's, say, cool, you've been in the league. That rarely happens. Like, players, they're focused. We're in their warm-ups. You know what I mean? But he made a point to come over and was like, I'm going to end this shit tonight. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, do what you do. Denver ain't no pushover. We've seen them already. Come back from 3-1 deficits twice in advance. And so, he did his thing. In the fourth quarter, he showed out offensively and defensively. Then after the game, he walks past me. What I tell you? You know what I mean? So he's just like on a relentless pursuit to like do things that no one's ever done. But if you think about it, say cool, like he's done. We talk about LeBron all the time. When we ride and talking about the league. Yeah. He's come back from 3-1 deficit.
3-1 deficit to the Warriors.
The Warriors. 3 different teams. He has a chance to accomplish. And then just nobody's done it this way. And we could talk about all the times he's lost in the finals, but he's won some hard championships, like some hard championships. And so, and this one right here, I know people may say, well, it's the bubble, but look, man, everybody who came to the bubble was trying their hardest to win every single game. You know what I mean? Everybody had the same set of circumstances. So I'm interested in see how this thing is going to play out.
The Lakers have that look, Chris, like, we watched the series with Denver, and you watch a team that was playing as effortless and just drama-free as Denver was. I mean, they was out there just letting it go. Like, you could tell by Game 4, physically, the pounding they were taking from the Lakers started wearing on them. Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, LeBron is 6'9", 260. Anthony Davis is damn near 7 feet tall. I mean, you could see where the size and the physicality of the Lakers can wear a team down. Is that what they're going to use, do you think, in this finals against a Miami team that can't match up size-wise? We can see that on the hoof. Is that what their decided advantage is to you in the finals, just being the bigger, more physical team?
So, you know what? I don't know. I think it has the possibility to be the opposite in the series. And the reason I say that is because, Denver with Jokic, obviously, it plays in the hands of the Lakers because they have bodies. Everything runs through, for the most part, everything ran through Jokic. But Jamal Murray has been on such a tear that, the ball was in his hands for the playmaking responsibilities a lot more in the series. But if you look at Miami, Bam is really a power forward, but he's their center.
Yeah.
Then they go small the rest of the way with Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, Duncan, and Dragic. So this could be a series where you don't see a lot of time from JaVale, Dwight Howard. This may be the series that AD has to start at center. Match up with Bam, and then, go LeBron and the rest of the way. And so it depends. I think game one, obviously, that's the filling out period. I think both teams want to come out and just go with their usual starting lineup. Whether the Lakers go with JaVale or Dwight in game one. But I just think that the small ball that Miami plays, and they really don't have a big man. If you look at their backup center, really Kelly Olynyk, and he's a stretch 5. And so they really don't have a traditional big man. That's where I can see the Lakers going small and playing a little bit more small ball than they did even in the Houston series.
So, Chris, we saw the Lakers play a small ball team in Houston where AD's advantage was what it was. But are you suspect of all of this notion that AD is going to continue to play out on the three-point line in this series? Like, wouldn't you need him to attack the Heat at their strength, which is Bam, which is making Bam work on both ends, getting Bam in foul trouble, making Bam be the one that, decides whether or not Miami can compete and stay in this series?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. But I'll say this, AD is not the type that bangs and bruises that, gets points inside the paint. Yeah, he's a post player, but he's a guy who faces up from the outside and tries to, take you off the drive. And we talk about AD playing center, that I feel like this might be a time where he may have to start at some point at center in this series. I believe it was the Houston series. That's when they started implementing Markieff Morris. And so they had Markieff Morris and AD in the front court. And I'm like, okay, this is a nice lineup. AD at the 5 and Markieff. AD hates playing the 5. And so after the game, Frank Vogel was like, they asked him about Markieff Morris, like, what was his contribution? They was like, oh, yeah, Markieff did a great job, coming in and playing the 5. We're like, hold on. Markieff was the 5? Like AD was clearly playing the 5, but they would not verbally say that AD is playing the 5. That's going to be really intriguing because, Bam is the facilitator of that team. He really is. Jimmy Butler does a lot, but Bam, he's not there with Jokic when you talk about passing, but that guy has an eye for the court, man. He's a couple of plays ahead of the opponent, when it comes to just making plays. And so if AD can get Bam in foul trouble, it's going to be tough for Miami to generate offense because I know Jimmy can do it, but he can't be the only one. And Dragic is on a tear. A lot of us thought that his best days were behind him. He's showing that he still has a lot left in the tank. But as far as playmaking ability, that's Bam and Jimmy. And some will argue even more so Bam.
I can't get out of my mind, Chris, the idea of Pat Riley up there behind that glass watching this team, this Heat team that he put together in the aftermath of LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh doing what they did for the Heat. Pat Riley watching now, seeing LeBron on the other side playing with the old franchise that he led to mad championships, in a previous era. To me, that's my favorite storyline of this whole thing is wondering what's going through Pat Riley's head watching these games, watching his young boys and Jimmy Butler go at LeBron and the Lakers. I'm curious what you think would be floating in the air for Pat Riley behind that plexiglass as he's trying to put a hole in LeBron's plans to win another championship.
No doubt that's going to be a storyline throughout this series. I mean, damn, Rachel Nichols exposed a question about LeBron right after the game. But I'll say this storyline is really diluted for me. It's really hard to put it all together when we're in the bubble. It's not, we're in the bubble. There's really no one on that team who played with LeBron except for Udonis Haslem. You know what I mean? And so it takes a lot of luster out for me. But there's no doubt, I'm going to have to write a few stories about it. I have to, you know what I mean? I can't avoid it, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, damn, it's a totally different team. We're in the bubble. You can't go to Miami. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron's not going to experience the fans going crazy. And nobody's going to Miami or Florida anyway. because everything is free right now. You know what I mean? They partying right now, so we ain't trying to go. Florida is wild, man. Florida is wild. Like, if Miami wins a championship, there's going to be a celebration. There's going to be a parade. I don't think the Heat players are going to be there, but Florida is going to have a parade, a celebration. But Pat Riley, one of the most serious competitors we have, in this industry, player, non-player. To have a fifth seed go to the NBA Finals, I don't know if this is surprises Pat or not, but there's no doubt, man, he wants to take LeBron down. Like, he wants to. We know how things ended in Miami with LeBron and them. And so you think Pat Riley doesn't relish the opportunity to take LeBron out and, his first time, Pat Riley's old stomping grounds with the Lakers and LeBron's first year in the finals with the Lakers, you can leave a true stain that can't be removed. No bleach can take this stain out. You can put a real stain on LeBron James's legacy. You don't think Pat Riley? You don't think Pat Riley is up for that, man? And so there's no doubt he's going to have a few pep talks or two with his team before they tip off.
The one thing I appreciate about LeBron, maybe more so now than I did early in his career, and I think he doesn't get enough credit for, is I can't think, Chris, other than maybe Kobe, in my lifetime covering the league, in the 2 decades I've been around the NBA, I can't think of another player who was more present in his own career in terms of understanding his place, how his every move is impacting his legacy, what it means, how it translates beyond just his team. You hear players all the time talking about, I only care about this team. I don't care about what goes on outside this locker room. We know better. We know LeBron understands his impact far beyond just his team and the organization he's with. What do you think it means to him and to his legacy to be back in the finals now? When a lot of people, somebody asked him about that the other night, the Wash King narrative and this idea that it was a wrap. You mentioned it. You thought you might have been covering his last hurrah in Cleveland. What do you think it means to LeBron now at 35? Knowing that the end is closer than anybody wants to believe? Like, how does this trip to the finals resonate with him?
Like I said, he understands history and his place. And, he's a basketball fanatic. And what I'm talking about, he understands what the accomplishments of the greats that played before him and currently, but he watches a lot of basketball. Like, there's players in the NBA who I'm not going to name names, obviously, but, they just play the game and they go home. Like, they're not watching other teams play. They don't love the game like that. You know what I mean? He watches the game. He talks about, he watched every NBA Finals that he wasn't a part of. He watches playoff games. So he's a fan of the game. He's immersed in this. This is him. But he also understands his place within the league. He understands his place as being being the face of the league. Obviously it speaks to, what he's been doing outside of basketball as well. Right now he's big on, voter suppression and making sure there's locations out there for people to vote. He's involved in making sure people who are convicted felons and making sure that they have access to voting as well, and trying to see what resources they can help get them so they can, some certain fellas have fines they have to pay in order before they start voting, so he's helping out with that. But look, man, say, cool, man, this dude, he's different, man. He's a different breed. I've been blessed to cover, some really great players, man. Really great players. I mean, just as a beat guy, day to day, Portland, Damian Lillard, CJ, Cleveland, LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, Golden State, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. All of them have their own levels of greatness, but it's something different about LeBron. Let me tell you about this real quick. When LeBron walks into a room, you see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you feel his presence. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. When he walks in the room, you feel his presence. And he doesn't have to say anything. And it's just a different allure about him than other people. I think other players are like, they're stars, they're superstars, but they're more relatable, maybe. And you don't feel like LeBron. And I would think, I've never covered Michael Jordan. I would love to, watching that MJ documentary, I would love to, have the opportunity to do that back in the day. But I would imagine that's the kind of feel you had when MJ walked into the room. You just felt his presence. And it's just a different cat.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. It's funny. When I first got here and went to Lakers practice, and, we kind of standing around watching them shoot, do whatever their routine was at the end of practice. I have to always remind myself how much bigger LeBron is on the hoof than you realize. Like, because he's playing on the perimeter now. You see him out there handling the ball. You're not recognizing this dude is 6'9", 260, not a drop of fat on him. And at 35, he can catch a rebound and head up the court and beat everybody up the floor still 17 years in. When you talk about him being just different, Chris, I'm still struck at how different he is as a player. It's not one specific skill. It's just kind of the whole package of LeBron. This dude is just different from the average ball player that's been on the court during his era and maybe all time.
The physical presence, the physical specimen that they are. You know what I mean? Like, these aren't dudes you see every day. And I think that's another part to, on top of them being great players, on top of them just having this type of leadership role about them, the way they're built. You add all that together, and you're like, damn, okay, maybe that's the reason why we don't look at Steph or Clay and them in that regard, because they're like that. Regular Steph can blend in with anybody. You know what I mean? He can blend in with anybody. But this is a 6'9", 260 guy, and just like the same allure with Zion Williamson. Like, we don't understand, like, how is this dude 6'5" or whatever he is, I'm not even going to put a number. I don't know. I don't want to disrespect nobody. That numbers could be, some people take offense to these numbers we put out there. I don't know. But the dude is, he's a specimen. And he's getting up. Like, we have never seen anybody get up for somebody who looks like that. And so you're always in awe of somebody like that. And when they walk you in the room, you're like, damn.
It's fascinating. I think the bubble has heightened to all of the observations we have, man. As I mentioned when we cranked this thing up, you are officially the insider's insider. And I've been doing this a long time. I ain't never seen a dude work the room and work his, I don't even know what to call them. They're not your constituents, but it's like, you damn near a politician now, man. You might be on the ballot November 3rd for the bubble president. You got this joint on lock. Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports, man. Look, what time we riding today? When we get on the bikes?
You let me know. I'm riding with you today. Say, cool, I ain't leaving you, man. I'm not leaving you today. Say, cool, you got to inform them about the riding crew. How we get there.
No doubt. We got a crew down here in the bubble. Chris, John Scott from Turner, who works with us at Turner, crazy talented dude. Mark Spears of the Undefeated. Morgan Mitchell occasionally blesses us with her presence. Myself, bringing up the rear all the time because I'm the oldest, shortest, and slowest, and in the worst shape of the bunch.
Oh, man.
And we see a little bit of everybody, Chris, on these rides. I don't know how we're going to be able to tell these stories years from now. James Capers might not want us to tell these stories, given the language he's occasionally used on our trips. Appreciate you, Haynes, man. Look, I'll meet you in the parking lot. I'm getting my bike. I'm getting on the bike now, heading to the parking lot.
I'll see you out there, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports, the Insider's Insider, joining us here on the Hang Time Podcast. Y'all tune in. We'll be back later this week to talk Miami Heat with Steve Smith of NBA TV and TNT. We'll get cranked up and ready for this NBA Finals. Should be epic. Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat.